inequality commentary supersede all other. In other words, adapt to the time, place, and circumstance, and are compulsory as follows. So it's actually compulsory for those of us in the Krishna conscious movement to understand these facts by Prabhupada and to understand Prabhupada's teachings and to read the books, right? We read the books regularly. What does that say? Page a day, and that's a sage or something like that.
Be a sage, page by page.
I'll be a sage, page by page. And there's even an app how to read a certain amount every day. But it's just like to recharge. I know every time I hear Prabhupada speaking, I just get recharged. It's like someone giving me 1,000 volts of electricity. And I don't get a heart attack. So it's like that. So yeah, it's a compulsory if you really want to know Krishna in this day and age, compulsory to actually know Prabhupada. If we read and hear from him. And he holds a unique post, kind of chart. Yeah. Krishna conscious movement started everything. Krishna conscious. And is the Acharya of all the Vaishnavas when physically present? He probably was. When that Prabhupada was present, we would just wait for to hear a letter from him. One devotee got a letter. That's what we saw, no texting. Yeah. Absolutely no texting. We didn't have mobile phones. We had paper. Many of the temples couldn't afford telephones because the devotees would make long distance calls in front of the bills if we pay the bills. We had to go to the payphones. We call each other on payphones. And tell everyone what Prabhupada just said. And immediately people did it. Prabhupada said at one point, just everybody go out and book distribution. Like that? So Prabhupada said, let everybody go out. And Prabhupada said, stop everything else and let one person stay back in the temple. And everyone did it. Prabhupada said, everyone should just eat once a day. And everyone started doing that. Of course, after they started energy, Prabhupada changed it. So he was the leader. It was like general. Not only the Acharya, but he was the general of Prabhupada. You follow him. And it was a very wonderful time. And also, this Founder-Ācārya can reward the power of attorney. We can act as representatives and also show his disciples and disciples of his disciples, eventually. And by being given that, as long as we remember our connection with Prabhupada and present Prabhupada. Power of attorney means you can't misrepresent the person you're the power of attorney of. It's like a trustee. For example, my mother passed away and she gave us the trustee of the will. My mother. The reason she didn't make me is because she knew I would give everything away to the Hare Krishna movement. She knew me too well. Well, my brother. And so he's a trustee, and he's given the trust that whatever was left over is meant for a certain purpose. There's something he can be. But he has to make sure that I don't spend anything on Krishna. That's the terms of the trust. Imagine. Can't give to the Krishna constitution. So, okay. Can I buy a car? Yeah, as long as it's for you. So that's it. I'm giving material example. That's true. So that's what a trustee is. So all of us in the Krishna conscious movement, whether gurus, GCs, presidents, whatever, we're actually trustees acting on problems we have. That's what relationship with Founder-Ācārya. We're not independent. We're trustees, collecting for problems. In the same way, my brother is a trustee for my mother. So first we talk about some past Founder-Ācāryas like Saraswati Thakur or Founder-Ācārya, uh, you know, and so those problems are found. I don't find the go through all this whole thing. I go on the slides. I'm not going to go through it everything. That's also a description. And so, but also as a Founder-Ācārya, like many other acharyas, there had been this prediction. Founder-Ācārya about one, acharyas that had this. All the acharyas, there's some prediction there in the Shastras or past acharyas that predicted it. For example, in the case of Śrīla Prabhupāda, you have Lord Krishna and Founder-Ācārya predicting Prabhupada. I mean, if Lord Krishna predicts you, you're in pretty good shape. So the quote is, after 5,000 years, my mantra, Uba Shaka, worshiper of the holy name, will appear in this world and spread the chanting of my holy name everywhere. Who else did that? Prabhupada. So you know, a unique position. There may be so many spiritual people, so many gurus, but nobody else had that particular description attached. Right? And then there's another one, Lord Chaitanya predicting, even if the sinners reject religion or flee to foreign countries like me, I will send my Senapati, that means the general military field command or whatever, to go there and deliver them. That's what Chaitanya Mongol. That book was written after Lord Chaitanya left this world. So obviously, it's written about Prabhupada. Who else accomplished that particular mission? And Lord Nishananda says something similar. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Stajana Toshini comments, a personality will soon appear in order to preach the teachings of Sri Chaitanya and move unrestrictedly over the whole world with this message. Okay. And these are just 3 examples. I mean, there's other examples too. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really set the stage for Srila Prabhupada's coming. Of course, Prabhupada's coming was to glorify Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. The Prabhupada is, you know, it's not independent from Lord Chaitanya, but he's representing Lord Chaitanya. But you can see things leading up to Prabhupada coming. There's a whole history of steps that were there, culminating in Prabhupada's coming, and then also continuing after Prabhupada left this world in Prabhupada's mission that continues and expands exponentially. Like in India, we have so many temples. In America, we're opening up new temples. And right now, as we talk, we're opening the temple in Charlotte, a new temple being constructed here. And so many places, you know, massive temples, amazing devotees going around the world and preaching. Like even here in North Carolina, we have Amarendra. It's amazing devotees. You know, just one of the problems the problem picked up straight here. But you know, we have another devotee was mentioned to me someone I loved 5 years. Name is Gordon Paul. He was there because he has a good sense of humor. So I like it. Anyway, so many amazing devotees in our movement. You go on the internet, you hear so many preaching. So all this is part of Lord Chaitanya's mind. There's so much variegation in the conscious movement. So Lord Chaitanya set a scene in the 19th century. Bhaktivinoda Thakur reviving Lord Chaitanya's teaching because there were many deviant movements that portray themselves as Krishna conscious movement. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur envisioned the worldwide movement that would become the whole world, what worldwide means. And he also envisioned a big temple Vedic planetary, where everyone in the world would come and chant Jai Satchidananda together. Particular mission. Even though the temple was finished at this time, And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's mission spread Krishna consciousness throughout India. And he sent the first preachers to Europe, and they were successful, and only 1 or 2 devotees made. But that set the scene for Prabhupada to go alone without any support to the Western world. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's preachers, they went with support. They were getting money. In other words, many people sent money to support themselves. So also in the 1960s, thank God, America relaxed its immigration laws. That's when we had a large influx of people coming from India. Nowadays, I don't know about immigration, but anyway. But the laws were relaxed, and so many people came. And that's actually the reason why America's at the highest end of AI and something's great. It's interesting that America is actually progress scientifically because of many things. Did you know that? First, it was the Germans after World War II, and now people from India, and that's why technologically America's advanced with China on top of this, because of people came from overseas. And actually, even spiritually, the problem came from overseas. And it's also the same with the Vatican, who actually said it was other religions. So people weren't self-connected. So, anyway, so I don't know how much more time. I think we had an hour. Well, you could go a few more minutes. Yes, sir. Okay, because I think it's important. I mean, you asked me to speak about this topic. So you can understand. Of course, hopefully this is all being recorded. Actually, so how did Prabhupada manifest these particular qualities? First of all, in a certain flow, 14 times in 12 years. He was quite old. I mean, I'm quite old. And I know traveling is a real struggle. You know, time zone changes. Prabhupada never said that he was bothered by time zone changes. He never said, "Oh, I have to adjust to this new time zone." He just like got into the same routine, woke up early, got up early, like 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock midnight, worked on his books regardless of where he went. You know, the rest of us, when we travel, think I need a few days off, you know, we pray. I do that. But Prabhupada just like kept on going. It was a marathon. Prabhupada knew he had very little time left to carry out his mission. And he was on a marathon because he understood everything had to be done. It did. And it was very few years he had, 11 years. So, and circled the globe 14 times, 12 years, and established 100 Krishna conscious temples, restaurants, farms, like that. Even there was a temple in Chapel Hill, Prabhupada expressed. I wasn't there. Chapel Hill. Probably the original, I think, 14 temples. It's Chapel Hill. It's in some of the record books. And books which I mentioned before, 60, 70 big volumes, so many small articles, so much correspondence. Right now, we have even an AI agent that just concentrates on Srila Prabhupada's books and lectures, conversations. It's a simple note, LM, something like that. And many people use it for classes. Of course, you can tell the honest class. But there's so much inspired so many people to awaken their own Krishna consciousness. And he showed extraordinary strength for someone so old, with a body that was so old. He wouldn't stop preaching. Wouldn't stop preaching day and night. And like a lion, like a spiritual master was called the Shinaguru, where Prabhupada was like that too. It was like a lion. You hear him talking to Dr. Patel in Mumbai with morning walks. Oh my God. He was like, no, because Dr. Patel was right about it. And he was really, really straightforward. And he founded the ISKCON branch of the Chaitanya Tree, we're part of this Chaitanya Tree, which was destined to carry pure love, Krishna to every town and village. So I guess we can take some questions now since we have nothing. Any questions or comments? I mean, there's a lot more. I mean, I can speak about Prabhupada day and night. We won't get tired. My whole life is dedicated to just taking care, serving, helping Prabhupada's mission, helping the devotees who are in Prabhupada's mission. And there's no other purpose than doing that. And it just excites me to, it excites me to talk about Prabhupada. We're ditching around, we've been asking to talk about Prabhupada or not. Even if I'm on my deathbed. So any questions or comments? Yeah, I can't see the faces, so because of the lights here. So, so why don't you call on people? Because I have less in my face.
Maharaj, thank you very much for this splendid class and talking about Prabhupada. One you mentioned about the point of the trustees and how you mentioned that leaders are combined with the GPC and the gurus also their trustees.
Right.
But my fundamental question is for grahasthas who don't live in the temple, how in what practical way can we live a life of being trustee if we are dedicated to Prabhupada?
That's very interesting. Trustee makes sure that the trust is carried forward properly. And so Prabhupada's directions, as far as its trust is concerned, are not just legal directions. You don't have to take care of the properties. That's generally what you think of in terms of trust. But Prabhupada's directions are the philosophical integrity, the keeping Prabhupada the center in your devotional lives and encouraging others to keep Prabhupada the center and Prabhupada's mission the center in other people's devotional lives. So it goes far beyond the legal definition of trustee. Legal, it involves the lives of every devotee who is connected with Prabhupada, whether or not they're living close to the temple, in the temple, 1,000 miles away from the temple. It really, because we have Prabhupada's books, we convey the information from Prabhupada's books. So Prabhupada wants each and every one of you to instruct others, like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Margai to distribute this knowledge. So by distributing the books, helping the dictionary, distributing books, you're acting as a trustee, contributing to the movement, because the movement is not just temples. The temples are very important, but sometimes there may be a tendency, especially for those like GPs or something like that, to concentrate just on the physical assets of the temple. But that's just a small part. The actual property of Srila Prabhupada, the devotees, that's the most important. Other things are not as important. Buildings are not as important. Money is not as important. I mean, of course, we need money to build a new temple here, but it's not as important. It's not as important. People are the important things. I mean, I was at one temple recently, and there was a sign right near the Hundi box that I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not going to give you exact because I want to tell which temple it was. But it says the best service is donation. And I said, what? I was shocked when I saw that. Yes, you can serve by donating, sure. But the best service is you dedicate your life. I mean, probably was asked, what can I do to become a devotee? And then chant Hare Krishna. You know, as their saying goes, it's a Christian saying, what's so profitable in the world if you gain the work, what's so profitable one? If he gains the whole world and loses his soul. So our main mission is soul saving, not temple building. Purpose of temples is for the souls, not the purpose of souls is for the temple. So don't think of being trustee as being temple centric necessarily. You know, that's part of it. But our main focus would be how many people, more devotees, like Prabhupada said, happier devotees. And we buy certain books by Harinam. Next weekend we have a Rath-yatra, isn't it? We've had say everybody dressed in green, except for me. I'm wearing green devotee no matter what. So next week, we have Rath-yatra and everybody gets out and you dance and you chant. And hopefully we can use our big cards, because they're trying to restrict cards right now for Rath-yatra. But yeah, so that's being a trustee, carrying out the mission rather than thinking of in terms of financial things or properties or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the question. All right, one other question that we have to do.
Maharaj, you mentioned like Prabhupada's extraordinary energy level, but it seems like the material rules are not really acting upon him. And it will be nice if as a devotee, we can also get access to that level of energy. So my question is, what does exactly it takes to really have a very high energy level where we can do the maximum possible in our devotional service?
Talk to me about health later. I'll tell you some verbs to take. Anyway, no, just joking about that. Just be focused on the purpose of life and serve Krishna with your heart. Serve Prabhupada with your heart. Like if you love someone, so there's the bhakti. It's the yoga of love, devotion. So if there's love for Prabhupada, Guru, Krishna, then one can sacrifice anything. Just like many of you love your families and you're sacrificing your families, isn't it? I mean, it's really hard. Kali Yuga to have a family. You got some kids at university. It's expensive. One person even said having children is like expensive poverty. So, but you love them, isn't it? So why are you working so hard, so enthusiastically, going so many jobs, paying your mortgage? It was just you. You didn't have a wife or children. I don't think you would work so hard, would you? It would just be like, well, whatever. I mean, just like myself, if I think about my own living, I'd be happy just to live in a tent. Big tent. As long as the tent had air conditioning. But seriously, I'm not, I mean, if Krishna gives me more facility, which he is, I accept it. But I'm not gonna work for it for myself. Like in building a temple, I had today, other days, I wasn't going out talking to people collectively today, but so many days I'm talking to people, I get phone calls, people, and how do I get money to build a temple? But it's not for me. Because I love Radha Gopinath, I love Prabhupada's mission, and I love all of you, and I want you to have facility worshiping Krishna. So the impetus is from the heart. But when the impetus is from the heart, more energy goes, or as Vaishesha God who says, energy flows. But the attention has to be something you really care about. It can't be just like imposed. Yeah, like if someone told me to do something like join the American Army or something like that, it wouldn't be a very good fight. I would look for a desk job. So, because there's no heart. You do your duty, but you know, it's like, all right, what am I doing? What I have to do. So that's really how the energy comes. When there's actually Bob motion. Without Bob, which is the AI. My AI has a lot of emotion. It got to know me in office of basis. Every time I ask him a question, it just goes, Hare Krishna, thank you. I say, but we don't want to be like AI. Okay, I get the time to end. Thank you very much. Sorry that's so long. All the noise was divine praise. AC Bhakti Swami. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai.